Hey everyone, it's Oliver. Today we're dealing with this noise that my front brakes were making. It was because the brakes were a little worn and the caliper was frozen a little bit from the winter. So we're going to swap the brake pads out and get the caliper back into place. So first things first, you got to take off the wheels obviously, prop the car up, make sure it's secure, and you have to take out these two smaller bolts. And the bolts that came off originally were 14mm bolts on top of the caliper. And once you do that, you can rotate the slide pin and get it out. I had some slide pins that were quite stuck and one that had a little plastic rim on it that wasn't in the best of condition, but it went on there okay and it's functioning great after the repair. But yeah, you take out the slide pins. Sometimes they'll be a little bit stuck to that rubber boot that they're in. But once you take it off, you want to wipe off the old grease and put on some new grease. The process of putting on new grease was pretty straightforward. I picked up this stuff from Permatex here, and it's basically just a specific grease for sliding components on your brakes. So make sure that you use this. Don't just use like typical grease because that stuff tends to wear out the rubber. If you have to, just look up like brake grease. It's silicone based, I think. It was pretty easy. I just put some dabs on there and then I grabbed a couple of Q-tips to sort of spread it out. And I did this for all of the pins. And I ended up reapplying so that there was like a little bit more than you see in the videos. And I actually, on one of them, took out the pin once and then wiped it down again and then put more grease on and did the process all over again. Because I found when I twisted it inside of the caliper, it wasn't twisting very smoothly. So I just wanted to make sure that it was as smooth as could be. And I reapplied until there was enough that I was satisfied with it, and I moved on to the next one. Alrighty, so here are the new brake pads. I got them from this Bremsen company. Quite frankly, they're all the same to me. I just got ones that looked good enough for the price. It's obviously important to get decent stuff when you're working with brakes. So, you know, as long as the reviews are good, lots of people purchase them without too many complaints. That's kind of what I go for. So this kit comes with the hardware and the brakes, and those two slid out as I opened the package. And yeah, so I'm basically going to take these and reapply them to the spot where the old brake pads were, making sure to lubricate the back sides of them with more grease and the edges that are going to be touching the metallic hardware as well. So first things first, we're going to install the new hardware after taking out the old hardware. And then once that's done, it's pretty straightforward. You just kind of pop it in. Once that's done, we're going to grease the hardware in the parts that the brake pads are going to be touching. And then once that's done, we're going to grease the back of the brake pads and the top edges, which again are touching where the hardware is, so you don't get any metallic clinking noise like I did on the back brakes when I installed them. Alright, we're going to go through this next part pretty quickly. You're going to have to forgive me because I didn't get to record everything. But as you can see, the brake pads are now in. It's very easy. You just slide them in the same way they came out. But you're going to notice that the piston on the brake caliper is going to be extended out too far because you have brand new thick brake pads in. So you take an old one, you put it inside the caliper, and you grab one of those grips that you would use when you're like woodworking to glue two pieces of wood together. And you just put it on the old brake pad where it's placed in the caliper, and you start twisting and the piston will start compressing, and then you'll have a piston that you can properly install. And you just pop it back on, put your bolts back in, and you're good to go. Bit of a chaotic video, but I appreciate you watching nonetheless. Here are some notes at the end, and I'll see you in the next one with hopefully a bit more filming.